absolute pool party. Even one of the big adult females decided to go for a swim. And as I said, that's a bit more unusual. Normally it's the young boys that like swimming. But, oh, look at them having the best time. So, Daisy B is wondering if there are any hippos. There's a hippo. He's trying to stay out of the elephant's way while they cavort about. And this is proper cavorting. So that's a little group of young bulls. And then off to the right, almost completely submerged, is the adult female. And there she is. And I'd say it's unusual. And she was the one who arrived quite late. And she's decided, no, it's hot. The boys look like they're having all the fun, so I'm going to do the same. And now that looks like a little one. Oh, sounds like Taylor just got a kill.
Oh, he did. Wasn't that crazy, though? Because I was wondering why that spider came running out and from behind me. And eventually, we saw them sitting fairly close to one another. It sat, and then it raced and jumped onto the... Not quite jumped onto it, but it looked like it launched itself, hey, Seb? It was quite cool. I don't know if it... Maybe it was off the ground slightly and then pounced on that moth. That moth didn't even put up a fight. It didn't flap its wings once. It's definitely on its way out. And I could definitely see that by the tattiness on those wings. That's normally the first thing that deteriorates. So there we go. Is caught a meal. Now, obviously these water spiders are active hunters. They don't make webs to catch their prey. So they're constantly on the go. Normally they position themselves at the edge of some vegetation and hope that a little insect that lives in the water comes through for some shade, or a tadpole or something like that. But of course they will take advantage of moths and butterflies, or like we said, which will come down and are often attracted by these mud wallows. So that was really quite cool. Now, it probably got a venom of some sort. Now, venom's very important to things like spiders, to even to snakes. It helps, of course, break down all the, I suppose, whatever's inside that moth, so that it can suck it on up and carry on eating it. It was quite cool to see, in fact. We actually saw the takedown. It happened so quickly. You didn't get it, hey, Seb?
No. It was called just after the...
Just after. It was so quick, though. Just all of a sudden went. And there it is. So it'll probably bite us, probably injecting some venom now. Like I said, that moth didn't put up much of a fight, though, so I don't think it'll be too long before it kills it. And then I don't know what it's going to do with it, if it's going to take it, if it's going to move it, because this spider now is also quite vulnerable, sitting out in the open. It's got no camouflage whatsoever, and that moth is kind of giving it away. Then, Seb, I have another spider here. I don't know if you're quite interested in it. Is there movement? Oh, there we go. Oh, cool. See, so the moth is still alive. You can just see the antennas moving around. But that might be the venom also acting in now. Perhaps it's its last struggle for freedom. The spider seems to have a very good grip, though. Now, spiders... Oh, look at that. Oh, it is dragging it away. That's incredible. So I've never seen what a water spider does when it catches something big enough. Like I said, it's out in the open, not a good spot. Spider obviously knows it. Maybe it was just waiting a couple of minutes for that venom to set in. Let's see. That was so cool. Look at the... Do you see the incredible strength that spider had to lift that moth up? So it just goes to show, ants are not only the stronger insects out here, but even the spiders are pretty incredible. That was amazing. Goodness, it dragged that with absolute ease. There are lots of spots though I could go to. If I was a spider, I'd probably go to some of this grass that's growing out of the mud and tuck myself away under there. I think I'd feel a lot safer. Also, I don't know how I'd feel about just sitting in the sun. That is incredible. Can you still see it moving, Seb? Is the wings just trying to flap? A little bit. That is so cool. That's why I love going on bushwalk. A little bit slow to start off with, but everything was nice and cold. It was fresh this morning. And now we're seeing all sorts of things. That's So cool. Oh, there's something else moving around here too. Every now and then I'm just looking to see if I can see. It might be little striders or something under the water. Or,
So you had another spider?
no. Oh, I have another spider in here. I don't know if it's I think it might be a buckspur spider, which is a spider that makes its web in the track of an animal. Looks like a warthog track. So I don't know if you want to try your luck. If you come to where I am and look down, just don't step there because that's where I'm going to show you. Sorry, Seb's just climbing over. So inside here, in the middle of the track, looks like a young warthog track. Underneath all that web, there's a spider that's very, very brown in color. Can you see it with your eyes? So it's not in the shadow, it's actually in the sunlight.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You've got it now. Seb's just trying to get a good position. I'm going to stand back up. So it's in a track. Like I said, it's a spider that typically makes its web inside the footprint of another animal. And I can't remember if I've ever really seen one. There we go. Look how pretty that is. Also, beautiful coloration. But this one will be hunting completely differently in comparison to that water spider. So it has made a web, so it'll be waiting for something like ants or little beetles to come crawling around and perhaps take a tumble in that track or get stuck on the web as it tries to navigate that track. But that's also quite cool to see. Amazing! Well, seems as though water is now a popular theme with the arachnids, the insects, and of course the elephants. And I'm sure you'd love to carry on watching elephants swim.
Well, look at that. Fang has decided to join the swim. And she looks like she's having the most amazing time. As soon as she came in, a lot of the other elephants came around to join her. They chased the hippo a little bit. Hippo is looking very out of sorts. All these elephants splashing and making huge noise in its little waterhole. This is very, very special. And they've been swimming for a long time now. There's a trumpet underwater. Yeah. Can sound a little bit different when trumpeting under the water. It's just too wonderful. Oh, there's Fang. Looks like she's had enough now. Might be getting out. Now, it's going to be interesting to see that once she leaves, whether the others will leave as well. The little boys might continue on for a bit. There's another underwater trumpet. Okay, let's just go to these ellies in front of us. There we go. A bit of greeting, talking, trumpeting. The little boys, or the teenagers on the other hand, are still in a little, basically, scrum of elephants in the water. Splashing and splashing. Lauren is wondering, when will a baby elephant take its first swim? Well, I've seen very young babies of 2 or 3 weeks in little shallow ponds, but in these bigger, deeper bits of water, probably when they're a good couple of years old, maybe 4 or 5. And it also depends on what's around and how comfortable the adults are. So a little elephant's normally only going to swim if it's mom swimming, whereas these teenagers, as you can see, they just love it and just piling in. They don't want to get out, even though the adults have decided it's time to get out and move. Tori's wondering, when will elephant bulls start going into must? So pretty much when they're between 12 and 12 and 14 is when they'll get their first must, but they will be unable to breed till they're about 30. So your big dominant bulls will come into must when the most females are in estrus. Oh, seems like swim time's over, and one might try to push the others back in. Oh, whoopsie. Oh, sorry, Tori. I got sidetracked by the elephants. And so your big dominant bulls will be when most females are in estrus, and your younger bulls will be when the least females are in estrus. And their must cycles will change throughout their life, and also the must cycles depend on area and rainfall and all sorts of things. No, they thought they were getting out. They decided, no, it's too much fun. Lakeisha is wondering, do elephants ever drown? Unlikely in this part of the world, but yes, flooding rivers, if they try to cross them, there are records of elephants drowning. Also in very big rivers like the Zambezi, the Ruvumu, the Rufiji, but it does not happen very, very often. There we go, they're just having the best time. Come on, give us some more underwater trumpets. They're always hilarious. There's a little one. So, only little boys left in the water now. Splishing and splashing, trying to be as impressive as possible. I always find it funny how impressed they are with their own splashes. And look, I made that. Well, there's an elephant pile now. Ryan is wondering, will the elephants' mothers come down and shout at them for taking so long to rejoin the herd? The herd's not far away. It's 25-30 meters from the edge of the... What are you doing? From the edge of the dam, and they're slowly feeding. When they do start moving away, they'll normally just give a rumble, and the boys will listen, or sometimes they get left behind, but they catch up quite quickly. Romit is wondering, do male or female elephants live longer? They actually live about the same age, Romit, so very, very equally lived. Oh, after the hippo, or was it a stick? Oh, he found a stick. I thought I saw something in the water it decided to chase. The hippo has made good its escape, but the hippo was around there a bit earlier. And I think, so full of nonsense. So impressed with their splashes and trumpets. What a wonderful, wonderful morning swim. Now, what often happens is now, what the elephants are going to do is go find some nice sand and flick sand over their wet bodies. So let's go move forward a little bit. And I can actually see the dust coming out of the bushes where they found some nice soft sand to dust bath with. But also these little boys look like they might be continuing on the rough and tumble from inside the water. And that's exactly what they're doing. The same little group of hooligans. But you can see all the dust from a bit further down the road, where the ones who stopped swimming a bit earlier have been flinging dust upon themselves. And now it's time to eat. And they have to eat a huge amount of food every day to sustain those massive bodies. Wow! What an amazing, amazing elephant sighting. But I'm going to stick with them a little bit longer, see where they go to next. While I do that, let's go see where Steve is and what he's up to.
Thanks, Brent. We have just had report on the radio of a big herd of buffalo coming into our area. Let me just show you on the map here so you have an idea. The buffalo herd was coming in, so from the south, or from about Chitwa, Drakensberg Central, and they're here somewhere now. So we're going to see if we can get around and follow up on them. How amazing would it be if this was, in fact, the same herd we had yesterday with the little baby? Hey? Uncle Steve would like to see the new addition to the buffalo herd, says Davy. So we'll see if we can find them. Wouldn't that be marvelous? In the direction they're moving towards Guaripan, which is a small pan of Guarira just north of us here. And they might even be moving far as where Brent is now at Buffelshoek. But let's see if we can catch them before they get to Buffelshoek. Buffalo move in response to food and water, and it might be that time of day that they're heading in that direction. Just having a few difficulties with our back door. What a day for technical issues on the day I'm leaving. Sorry about that, folks. Dave has got it under control. Just seeing if we can see their visual coming through. Okay, well, we see if we find these buffalo. We do that, let's go to Taylor, who's got herself a flock of birds.
It looks like a group of white storks, a huge flock of them, all flying around, which is pretty cool to see, because you don't often get to see them. Now, sure, my goodness, they've flown a very, very far away. They are what we call Palearctic migrants. Can you still see them? I'll follow you around. We don't often get to see them. We've seen a lot of them in Zambia. Where are we now? We weren't in Zambia. I'm just going on about Brent talking about the Zambezi. I've got Zambia on my brain now. We're seeing them in Kenya. We're actually lucky. We're seeing lots of different types of storks. That's something that I do miss, but always quite nice to see them around. It's so cool. Just trying to keep walking. They keep moving out of frame. You see, it's a little bit difficult. You can see, look at what they're doing now, going round and round and round. So all they're trying to do is find a thermal. I wonder where they've been resting, because we haven't seen them at Chitwa Dam. I mean, they can feed both near water and also out in open grasslands, like a combination of the two. I wonder where they were. There must obviously be some big dams down towards Londolozi. That's not too far away from here. Perhaps Elephant Plains are seeing them, which is awesome. Really, really awesome. But they're going to be leaving soon. What, May? They normally go. Maybe stay a little bit longer. Maybe stay a little bit later. We'd only just got back, so I haven't been seeing much of them. But very, very nice, sure. How many there must be there? About 40 of them? 40, 50 of them flying around? There's quite a few. Sometimes you'll also see the abdomen storks joining in, and woolly-necked storks, or when they all catch thermals like this. Perhaps they're getting ready to fly a long way. That's so cool. We didn't know what they were at first. And it could have been even vultures flying around like that. But that's not the case. Cool, let's keep going. So we actually walked all the way down no, it's okay. We walked down a massive animal pathway all the way down here. And then we had female leopard tracks. We might have to backtrack a bit. Let me try and find them for you. So I'm pretty sure the leopard tracks that we were looking at are from the Shidulu female. Just trying to see where, a little bit further back here. So we're trying to see where she goes. So remember yesterday afternoon while I was driving around, we were trying to figure out where she was going to go. She's had a meal. We knew she was going to go and drink some water somewhere. And we kept checking Gallagher Pan. We were also checking the pan off Vuyatela Road, Vuyatela Access. Was it down here? Surely we didn't walk that far. Trying to figure out where these tracks were. Oh goodness, where are they? Oh, we've got to try and find them again. We did circle some. It could have been way back here. And then the tracks just disappear off the road again. So that's why we're out on here trying to figure out where exactly they've gone. Oh my goodness. I don't know how far back we were when we found them. Then we got distracted by the birds. No. I don't know. Far down. There's a huge animal pathway. Oh well. Maybe there's some more here. That's so bizarre. I can't remember where on the road we had these leopard tracks now. I think we just obviously didn't realize how far we'd actually walked. Let's head right on this way then. Dr. Rob, as we try and find some more things to have a look at, you were wondering if I've ever seen a cobra on foot. I have. This is a story I've told quite a few times. I've seen a Mozambique and spitting cobra on foot before. That was a lot of fun. We were walking. Actually, some of you may remember Evia. He's helped us out. Ooh, watch that stump, Seb. Seb almost fell over. Almost went backwards over that. I would have laughed. Would have asked if you were okay first, then laughed. And we were just walking, but the grass was quite tall. So kind of like how you've seen us walking before. Higher than your knees. We're just going along carefully. There wasn't much of a prominent animal pathway. We just had quite a bit of rain. So everything was nice and green and lush. All the grasses were popping through. And next minute we knew we came across this area where the grass was slightly flattened. And it looked like maybe a mouse or something was there. And then this cobra came up. And it wasn't fun. We both stood there like this, frightened, telling the guests don't move. The snake was not happy with us, and it did actually spit at one point because we both had our sunglasses on. Avia had little droplets on his sunglasses, which he didn't have before. Obviously, we make sure our glasses are nice and clean, so we have no obstructions when we are walking. So that was quite scary. We just took a couple of steps back very slowly, and eventually the snake just sort of slithered right back in under that sort of grass nest. And that was it. That's the only time I've encountered a cobra on a bushwalk. I've seen many Cape Cobras before. They were quite cool. Down in the Eastern Cape of South Africa. That's actually a beautiful cobra, lovely golden in colour, but we don't get them up here, unfortunately. Seems as though Steve was right about the buffalo. Not only did he have those tracks, I think he's actually managed to find them.
Not yet, Taylor, but we're kind of in the area where they were moving, and we have been spotted by a Leo Smith who has decided to come up right behind us. But the drainage line that we have over here, the buffalo were kind of heading sort of in this general direction. So we've just switched off to have a little listen, and it looks like Brent is going to take the initiative and drive straight past us. I wonder if he's got more liver to show today. Look at that. That's the proper stank face, eh?
What are you doing?
We have come to find some buffalo. They've crossed Drakensberg Central, heading towards this road in general. So we're having a little bit of a listen.
Cheetah cut line, see if I can get an update on the wild dog.
Fantastic. You do that, eh?
With the radio, I'm going to where the radio is.
I don't know if you folks heard that, but Brent is going to be following up on some wild dog activity he's heard from the east. You go, sir. After his amazing elephants in the pool, I'm sure he could be lucky. We are going to still see if... Oh, did Brent nearly get stuck? Did Brent nearly get stuck there? Uh-oh.
Driving lessons are for free.
He says driving lessons are for free. Problem is, you'd have to spend your time with him during those driving lessons, so I'm sure you'll be paying for something. But we are still listening. I mean, a herd of buffalo moving through a thicket like this, because the way that they're moving, there's a big sort of drainage depression here, sort of like a dry riverbed. The grass is quite tall in there. That's kind of the line they'll follow. The tracks we had yesterday, when I followed them, they followed those little depressions because that's where the grass is tall and sweetest, lots of nutrients down there. And so as they move away from water or towards water, they'll move through those drainage areas, the dry riverbeds, because they want to get the most nutrients out of the grass as they feed. So we can't hear anything yet. Not sure how far. We're going to go a little bit further forward. There is a pan coming up here. I doubt they go into that pan. It's very, very small. But they're probably making their way slowly off to Buffelshoek. Okay, well, it seems as if Brent has spotted the buffalo a little bit further ahead. So our gamble has paid off. Let's go and have a look, and let's see if I am indeed related or an uncle to this herd. It'd be marvelous to see the little youngster, and if it is the youngster, I can't say it's male or female yet. They've walked quite a nice distance. So that would be marvelous. 50 meters up ahead, he said. So they seem to be following this little drainage depression on our right hand side. Ooh, yellow-bill oxpeckers on the buffalo is very exciting. And here they are, ladies and gentlemen. Here they are, coming through the thickets. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. There they are. Hello, chaps. Our gamble has paid off. Thanks, Brent. Here we have a little youngster or two there. The typical sign of the buffalo. Their nose in the air. And try to figure out what we are with a piece of grass sticking out the mouth. Always a marvelous scene. So you can see them in the long grass. This is the grass that they need. When we talk about buffalo and the habitat, what buffalo need as a territory or as a habitat for them, not a territory, my mistake, is they need long grass, very palatable sweet grass. They are bulk feeders, so they will feed on a lot, but they need to be relatively decent quality, and they don't really like short grass, so they like it nice and tall, like what you see now. And then they need water, adequate amounts of water, because they will drink twice a day at least. And then as a ruminant, they need shade. Hello, youngster. I wonder who you are. The shade is for when they ruminate, they can just sort of lie up in the shade, keep themselves nice and cool. And it's one of the elements that allows the savanna biome to have the number of species, and herbivore species specifically, that they do have. Because of the shade, it allows the animals to not have as many adaptations to the heat. Animals you find living in deserts have to have immense adaptations to heat. Whereas out here in the savanna, yes, they have adaptations, but the shade is what allows us to have such a multitude of species in the area. Just have a listen for a moment and listen to how the buffalo moving through the grass. There's a bit of jostling. They're going to come right around the vehicle. Okay, folks, so we're going to stay with these buffalo and see what they get up to. But while we do that, let's go over to Taylor, who's got her nose to the ground.
Almost, but unfortunately I'm not flexible enough to get down there. But anyways, so we've got some pretty cool tracks this morning pointed out by Herbie. Are you ready? Are you ready for this? I don't know. Are you ready, Seb?
I'm ready.
You don't look ready. No. Okay, let's have a look. So, look at these two very long skid marks in the road. Now, it looks like a hornbill came flying on down. Perhaps it was perched on a guarri tree, landed, went, slid a little bit, then hopped. There's a track there. Hopped again, and another track, there's another track, and completely destroyed this mound that the ants have formed. So they must have been quite close to the surface. I reckon that this happened this morning, in fact. So maybe like what we saw with the other set of ants, or the other colony of ants, apologies. And they were just coming up in the morning, starting to warm up, starting to work, and then this hornbill has come and eaten half of the colony. How sad. I bet they would have retreated, though, when they saw a big hornbill. I'm not sure if it's a yellow-billed or a red-billed hornbill. They're very similar in sort of track size. And then on the other side, I'm getting old. Say this being one of the youngest people on the team, but okay. And then also got some starling tracks. So over here, these don't look very fresh, though. So perhaps the starling was here yesterday. Probably attacking the same colony of ants. I don't think they're having much luck at the moment, but there we go. There's the back toe, and there are the 3 toes facing forward. Quite cool. Nice to look at bird tracks. Anyways, Steve has got the buffalo, and I bet he's searching quite close down to the ground to see if he can find that newborn calf.
Okay. Yes, I am indeed looking for it. There's some elephants in the back. Look at the back of this female. She has been injured. Is this the one that Scott Dyson thought was a terrapin? Scotty D, never going to live that down. He did an action broadcast thinking there was a terrapin coming out of the wound of a female buffalo. And that looks to be the same wound. Buffalo are now careening forward. Let's just watch. Something disturbed them. There's the youngster just here that is absolutely tiny. Let me just go up a little bit. That mother that was looking very diligently back towards us, she has now moved off. But she had a very young calf with her. She had a very young calf. I reckon, folks, that these guys are headed straight towards Buffelshoek Dam. We're going to go around up to Buffelshoek, where Brent has had the most amazing morning with his elephant. Let's go around there and we might get a better view of them as they come into the dam to drink. We're joined by one of the other vehicles here that was assisting us in finding these guys. They came from the other side. How marvelous is that? Buffalo on Djuma. We are so excited, because with the buffalo come the lions. So Brent was saying how excited we'd be because of the buffalo, but the yellow-billed oxpeckers, for those of you who are not familiar with the yellow-billed oxpeckers, they have made a huge comeback from very successful reintroductions from EWT, Endangered Wildlife Trust. Their numbers decreased phenomenally. They were completely extinct in the Kruger National Park from about the 80s, when cattle dipping and all sorts of tick sort of repellent stuff was given to cows in and around these areas, and that led to the eggshells of the oxpeckers, the yellow-billed specifically, becoming too weak, and when the parents actually incubated them, they broke. So the success of their species in South Africa disappeared. They were reintroduced back from Botswana, and it is one of the real success stories. To have yellow-billed down here is very, very special. Obviously, yellow-bills are more associated with buffalo, rhino, and giraffe because of the more thin-haired or shorter-haired animal, whereas the red-billed oxpecker you find more of a grooming, gleaning kind of action as he goes on to the animals like kudu and impala have a little bit. So the calls are quite similar, but they are very different actually. To the untrained ear, oxpecker sounds like an oxpecker, but the sound of a yellow-billed oxpecker is often the precursor to the movement of a large furry bovid. Okay, well, we're losing some signal. We're going to get to the dam. Let's go over to Brent and see what his plans are.
Well, hello! Welcome back. So I got an update on those wild dogs. Unfortunately, they did not continue north. They turned west and into Shirley. So there's a good chance that they might make an appearance in tomorrow morning around Triple M, Impala Plains, that area. So fingers crossed. Now, another nice update is the Nkohumas have been found about 200 meters from our eastern boundary, so there's a good chance they're going to head north this evening. So we will definitely be on alert to check around there come this afternoon, or actually probably closer towards the end of drive when they're more likely to get moving. They're not very far from that herd of buffalo that Steve has been following, so there could be some buffalo lion action this evening, fingers crossed. Also, update on male lions. The Birminghams are somewhere down south of Chitwa, and the 3 Avoca males were found this morning, probably about a kilometer or 2 from Tumbueti Dam, which is on our northern boundary. So we've got lions all around us, so there's a chance that some of them are going to come onto Djuma this afternoon or over the evening. Tandy still in Torchwood with the cub from last tracks. I think Shadulu's still on Djuma, somewhere in that area around Albury's Road where we had tracks this morning. Hukamuri has gone to Hoffman's, unfortunately. Quarantine was also seen, but quite a long way away on Torchwood near Nkoro. And what other leopard updates do I have for you? There wasn't one more. Oh, Hassana is down south on Little Gowrie, but that's not too long a walk to Twin Dam, so he could also, with his personality and his love of a good mission, could very much easily arrive back on Djuma. Tamba is the last one, and he was very far in an area where he hasn't been seen before, all the way on the Manyeleti River on Shirley's. So there we go, that's your big cat wild dog update for the morning so far. Well, we didn't find any big cat stalking, but it sounds like something else is stalking through the long grass of the late summer.
The worst stalker in the history of things that can stalk. I look like a spider. Anyways, we had a question come through from Dale about whether there are any insects or bugs that you can eat out here. All of them, not all of them. Some of them are poisonous. You don't want to eat the ones with brightly colored carapaces. That's probably not a good idea. Most of the time that's aposematic coloration. Warning colors, that they have a chemical defense of sorts. Termites, delicious. Ants, don't get James started on the Polyrhynchus ant. You know what, we actually had to put a stop to James eating the Polyrhynchus ants, because at the rate he was eating them, the population was dwindling and they were about to go extinct. Of course, that's absolute nonsense, but he does like to eat them often. They apparently taste like lemon drops. I'm not going to have one. I'll eat the termites, though. They're delicious. Grasshoppers. Grasshoppers are amazing source of protein. Delicious. People eat them all over the world, in fact. Some caterpillars are lovely, too. I don't particularly like caterpillars. The only ones I have eaten are the mapani worms. Probably won't ever in my life eat another mapani worm. I've eaten too many. I've had them fried. I've had them dried. Haven't had them raw. Herbie, have you eaten a raw mapani worm before? What is the technique? Do you pull the head off and you squeeze the juices out? No? We're talking absolute nonsense now. But yes, there are lots and lots of different things. I suppose you could also eat scorpions too. I wouldn't eat a scorpion though. So there's lots of different creatures out here that you could nibble on. I'd rather just wait till we get back to the kitchen and Amanda has whipped us up something. So we found some more leopard tracks. In fact, they came out of Albury's Road down here and then came back again. Here we are. This is a leopard track on the road. Now, it looks a little bit big. That's because there's actually 2 tracks on top of one another here. But this is from that female, and she's obviously stood in the sand a bit. The tracks have splayed open a little bit. But they went all the way down, then they drank from that pan at Vuyatela Access. And then she's come back up here, which is interesting. So I don't know why she came back up. These tracks are much older, a lot more windblown than the last ones that we saw that I was trying to find you. I just couldn't remember, of course, where they were, but they were coming back up this way, and they looked like they were done this morning. So I'm not really sure. Maybe she's still here. could be a prospect for this afternoon. It's so thick in these blocks, though, leading up towards Aubrey's Road and Gallagher. It's an absolute nightmare, in fact. Very difficult to get a vehicle through. Here it's fairly open still. You can see the patches of grass. But as you start to head towards the drainage line, huge tamboti thickets, lots and lots of silver cluster leaves on the seep line, and all growing in quite a dense, sort of densely packed area. Right, so we're going to keep scratching around here and see who else has been walking about leaving footprints. Off we go to Steve, who's now at Buffelshoek Dam.
Yes, we are. We are back at Buffelshoek Dam again this morning, and we seem to have a good signal, which is fantastic, because looking at the map, and I can do it again in a moment once we've had a little pan of Buffelshoek, we are at the dam itself, and looking at the map, I'm going to put it up again here on the board, and if we follow the line that these buffalo moved, they moved straight across this road, Drakensberg, across Central, and straight across. There's a very faint drainage depression moving across here. They went across that, and that's where we had them on Gwari Pan Road, and they seem to be heading directly towards the dam. If they were feeding, I assume that they would have been following these drainage depressions instead of just moving in a straight line. And also, if they were feeding, they would have been more spread out in their movements. And when we found them, they were very sort of close together and narrow. Lakeisha would like to know, how do they know where the water is? They've learned where the water is. They also have what they call forerunners or pathfinders. We could be a couple males or a couple females that sort of lead the herd, and everyone follows them, and they move in relation to their daily needs. They can also probably smell the water, and they do learn over many generations exactly how to find water and where the water is. So good afternoon, good morning. So that is probably, and just through my assumption of animal behavior, the way they're moving, they will come directly out of the dam here. We had the elephants swimming here before with Brent. I was asking Dave if he's ever had so much activity at Buffelshoek before, and they haven't really, but the unkuhumas have been around here for the last week. Obviously there's always the hippos, marvelous elephant sightings of late. Water, ladies and gentlemen, is the currency of life, and as it gets drier and drier, these pans will be more and more busy with regards to animal movement. Characteristic call of the orange-breasted bushshrike in the background. Very peaceful and serene. We're hoping to see the buffalo emerge out of the thickets in front of us and come down to the water's edge to quench their thirst. We're hoping to see that brand new buffalo calf that we helped bring into the world last night. There's one of the landowners there. They have the same intention as we do. They would like to see the buffalo come down and drink. This seems to be the favorite watering hole this morning. It is going to be a warm day. What do you think, Dave? Bex would like to know what is my favorite watering hole. Well, I've had some really good activity at this watering hole since I've been here. I've had the unkuhumas here 3 or 4 times, mating pair once, elephants swimming just the other day, hippo activity, a little grebe from time to time, which is always marvelous to see. Vuyatela Dam just doesn't seem to have enough water in it. But then, actually, if we're going to talk about it, considering what's happened in the last couple of days at Chitwa Dam has got to be the most productive and busy pieces of or patches of water in the area. But hopefully, we will get some more rain, get a little bit more water in these watering holes, because it is going to be a very long and dry winter. Those of you who did not know, our summer months are from about October, November through to about April. and that includes a little bit of spring and autumn on either end, and that is when we get most of our rain. It is a summer rainfall area. The savanna biome is a summer rainfall area, quite low rainfall with about 250 to about 700 mils, depending on where you are. Any more than that, it would become forest. And if you go up higher, up into the high veld areas like Johannesburg, where we get high incidence of frost in the winter, it prevents the trees from growing. So that area is more of a grassland. Christina, I have not seen any crocodiles in this dam. Every now and again I get this little head pop up, which I think is the snout of a crocodile, but it is a terrapin. There are lots of terrapins in here, but I have not seen a crocodile of yet. But it is always important to be aware, because 50 kilometers, so 25 odd miles from any water that has a crocodile in this area, 25 miles from that water source, you could potentially find a crocodile. It does happen. People often find crocodiles in their swimming pools around Hoedspruit, and they only know there's a crocodile because they can't find their dog. And then when they investigate, they find a very large and scary looking creature in their chlorinated swimming pool. So, important to have your kiddies gates around the swimming pool. Gizmo would like to know why a hippo's ears are so small. Well, Gizmo, they don't really need their ears for hearing. We just have another landowner joining us. It is definitely the busiest and most productive waterhole this morning. But the hippos rely mainly on smell and for their communication, because when they find their way back to the water, it's all about scent. And the communication that they have with regards to their loud you don't need big ears to hear that. And when they are walking through the vegetation, they still have okay hearing, but I think we're just looking at them from the perspective of the other animals that have enormous hearing. The hippo is not too bothered. If something does startle it while it's out, it will either flatten it, it'll either bite it in half, or it'll just run away. And it is very hard for any animal to pull down a hippo. First of all, they've got a very low sense of gravity, 4 very strong pillar-like legs, and a very thick neck and hide. So they don't have too many worries out in the wilderness. The only worry they really have is other male hippo, and them they can see and hear and smell. So they don't have the need of the massive ears you see with other animals. And when you look at an elephant, the reason for the elephant's massive ears is not for hearing, it is for the cooling mechanism of their enormous bodies. So I hope that answers your question, Gizmo. To come move through. Annie, you want to know about the crocodiles and chlorine? I don't know. The crocs aren't in long enough. Essentially, the crocodile has moved from a pool, it's gone walking in search of another pool as possible. Another territorial crocodile has made it move, and then it just happened to come across a body of water. That body of water happened to be a swimming pool, happened to have chlorine. I don't think the crocodile is in long enough for it to really affect it. Just like us, if we have ourselves in a pool, chlorine pool, we can probably swim for a good couple of days before it really starts to affect our skin. And so yeah, I'm not too sure about that, but I don't think it's ideal for the crocodile to be swimming in chlorinated pools. But it is possible that the chlorine would sort out any parasites that it might have on its skin at the time. So who knows? But we're going to wait here still in anticipation for this herd to emerge. And while we do, let's go back over to Taylor with some very small things.
It's a small big thing. This is a netwing beetle. It's really, really quite cool. Actually, I might not need to turn it, but I want to because its head is incredible. Don't fly. They can fly. I'm going to bring it round for you, Seb. Can you see its face now? Look at that. It's almost got like I don't know how to describe it. It's got quite a long snout, if you will. That's not the correct term. With little mandibles on the end of that. That's incredible. That is so cool. It's really, really beautiful. I'm not sure which netwing beetle it is. You do get a couple of them. Hold on tight. You're a bit clumsy, aren't you? You're a bit cold still. They're beautiful. There we go. I think it might fly. It wants to. Don't fly into the camera, though. Or maybe it was just opening up its wings slightly to help with balance. But that's a stunning creature. It's going to go. Come on. Come on, you can do it. They fly very, very well. That is an amazing view of one. I think it's trying to make sure it doesn't fall over backwards. How is that? I'll help you. Stop tipping over. It's very big to be sitting on the end of this piece of grass. Look at that. Whee! That is so cool. How awesome was that? To see it fly as well. So two pairs of wings there. Although when they bring them back like that, it can be quite confusing because you do think that it's just one. That was amazing to see. That actually worked out really perfectly. I'm looking forward to seeing some of your screenshots a little bit later. I'm glad it actually moved. Again, it was sitting out in the open, no camouflage whatsoever. There'll be lots and lots of birds that will want to eat that, even a big old spider. I don't think that the coloration that the netwing beetle has on it has anything to do with aposematic coloration like we were talking about before. I can't remember ever reading about any toxins that they have, but I could be mistaken. So I'll have to go back and have a little look at the netwing beetles and figure out exactly which species of netwing beetle that is. So I'll be climbing into my insect book when we get back to camp, which will be quite cool to have a look at too. Normally we see them and they're much, much smaller, much more slender than that, but I have seen that much larger, broader netwing beetle. So Vultures access was very exciting this morning. We just weren't here at the right time. I don't think any of us. There are leopard tracks from males, from females, hyenas over the top of their tracks. So it must have been, I don't think they met. I think they were walking past each other at different times. But we've been trying to figure out exactly what's going on. I just can't believe that Shidulu female gave us a slip yesterday. I don't think she was very far at all. I think she may have just dropped down to the tree and tucked herself away under a shrub of sorts. And because it's so dense in there, it was just impossible to see it. But she came walking right down Aubrey's Road. It looked like late last night. Knowing her, probably after safari had finished. So typical. And the elephants have been busy as well, trying to see if we can actually spot any ellies. Going up and down, crossing Vultures Road as well. Probably heading down into the drainages to go and feed. Or perhaps going to Gallagher Pan for some water. You can see here's some tracks actually here. These ones look like they're from yesterday though, these ones. Because they should go out onto the road, but you can't see them anymore. So I suspect this is from yesterday afternoon, but we did have fresher ones a little way away, which is quite cool. Not very nice to walk in here. No big animal pathways to walk for. I don't want to be itchy from the grass. This grass I know is going to make my legs itch. So I think we're going to continue down the road. And maybe we'll find one last marula to eat before the season finishes. That will be a nice way to end the walk this morning. But off you go, back to Brent, who's also on a bumble. Perhaps he can smell the bacon that Amanda is cooking.
Well, we haven't given up on cats yet. So I've made my way back towards where the last tracks of Shidulu were, and I'm seeing if she's possibly crossed on top of my vehicle tracks. So far she hasn't, so it means she's possibly still close by inside this block here. So I checked almost all the way around, and there's no sign of her crossing on top of my tracks from earlier this morning. So she's about here somewhere. I'm going to do a quick check towards the gate. Make sure she didn't slip through this way. I don't think so though. I think she's still around here. Okay, let's do a quick check. See if there's anything coming this way. No, and I know that for a fact because I can see Taylor and Herbie's tracks, so they've already checked this area. You can see Taylor and Herbie's tracks coming through here. And Seb's, of course. Oh. Vultures dropping, hold on. Vultures going straight to ground, that means something's up. and lots of them. Hold on, hoppa! Now, I do not know what it could be, but they are going right down. And landing in the trees, which means they possibly... Are they hitting the ground or hitting the trees? If they're hitting the ground... No, they're hitting the trees. There's a catch here. Definitely, or hyena kill. Hyena kills, they would actually be on the ground, then, but the fact that they're hitting the trees like that means that there's probably a big cat right here. I love it when I see vultures dropping like that. Standing by, Herbie. FM Herbie, I'm here now. They're all in the trees, so I think there's definitely Djuma here somewhere. So Herbie also spotted them. There, what's that there? There's that meat there on the ground. Now what is here? I can't see a predator, but the fact that the vultures are in the tree means that there is a predator here somewhere, so I'm just slowing down. I don't want to spook whatever it is. You see the meat there, Craig? So, a very good call to come back this side. So if there wasn't a big catch here, the vultures would be on the ground all over the carcass. Okay, let's move around a little bit. I think if it is a leopard, it's probably going to be just behind the carcass there, so I don't want to drive straight up to the carcass. Oh, it seems like it's all happening, so I'm going to try find which big cat is here. While we do that, let's go back to Steve with the buffalo that have finally arrived at the dam.
Yes, they have, ladies and gentlemen. Our patience pants have worked out for us. The buffalo have come from exactly where we thought they would. They can't resist drinking. They need to drink twice a day to sustain their body processes. And this is marvelous scenes, the way Dave and I are positioned here. We're on the dam wall. The other two landowners that are in the position or in the sighting have suddenly realized that they're parked in the very wrong place. And they probably didn't wonder why we were parked here initially, but now they're seeing the error of their ways and they're coming to join us. But isn't that marvelous, folks? They go right in up to their waist, have a nice drink. The calves won't need to drink. They will, though, if they can, but they won't need to because they'll get most of the water from their mother's milk. And we're keeping our eyes open for their beautiful new addition to the herd. Let's see if we can spot one. There are a couple little brown babies in there, but they get very quickly hidden by the masses of the herd. There we go. Look at that one coming from the right, Dave. That looks brand new. Just there. Here it comes. Just behind Mom. There we go. Look at that one. It's about to come down to the water. That one looks brand new. It's still very wonky. Just a bit down. A little bit down. It's going to come in the gap there now. Yes. Just behind that one. There we go. There it is. Is that the new addition? It looks like it might be. It doesn't have as much bulk as the other youngsters we were looking at before. Still looking a little bit thin, a little bit scrawny, you would say. We go. There's one on the left and one on the right. The one on the right looks a little bit thinner than the one on the left. How marvelous is this, folks? The herd size looks similar to the one yesterday. I mean, it's really hard for me to say if it is in fact the same herd. We're hoping it is. We're hoping it's the characters we saw last night. They've come from the right direction. Everyone's very happy that we're with this herd. So am I. Marvelous to have scenes like this. Buffalo's Hook actually means buffalo corner. So the buffaloes are doing what they're supposed to. Buffalo Corner Dam, is it what it's called? And it is turning out to be a rather hot day, so they're having a drink and then also cooling their undersides. Dave and I are feeling a little bit jealous. We could do with a little bit of a dip. That will be the surefire way to find out if there are crocodiles in here. But can you see how alert they are, folks? They've all got their noses up. The lions were around here for a few days. I've no doubt that there's still a residual smell of lions. They're not too concerned, but they're alert. They're alert. They do have youngsters in the herd, so it pays to be cautious. And the chances are they're going to drink and continue on the exact direction that they've been going and probably cross north again back into Buffalo's Hook. With their attendant oxpeckers. That is what we saw first coming through the thickets, was just the oxpeckers taking off and landing and taking off and landing, and that very characteristic chirr that they do. Very important to know that call, because they often will indicate the movement of a herd of buffalo, and in this case they did. And what marvelous scenes we're getting from the very relaxed buffaloes of last night around the breeding cow, the live birth, directly to all of you out there. Well, I'm super excited for what we've seen, but let's go over to Brent and see what he has managed to make of his vultures.
Well, I'm really confused what's going on here. I think this is lions. A leopard can't do this to an impala skull and even strip like that. See the size of those teeth marks in here? I think it could have been those 3 Avoca males last night. But the fact that the vultures are still up in the trees, there might have been a leopard like Shadulu around here that might have stolen the remnants of this kill. But it's a conundrum. I'm definitely going to keep a checking around here, but I don't think we're going to find what we're looking for right now. So let's go back to that wonderful sight of buffalo drinking at Buffalo's Hook Dam.
Yes, look, there she is. That looks like the little individual there. She's still new. See how the herd members are still giving it a bit of a sniff. You can see her hips are a little bit skinny. What a marvelous way to do our morning after last night's buffalo birth. We have managed to follow and find the buffaloes, and there they are. I am so excited to be leaving on such a high note. It has been a marvelous morning this morning with elephants swimming, from Brent and the rest of the team, Taylor and Herbie on foot, myself and Dave and everyone FC from here, Buffalo's Hook Dam. Have a fantastic afternoon and morning. We will see you later. Goodbye.